Welcome back to Pacific Rail Productions. Today we're going to have a look at what it takes to get cut-in helpers put into a heavy grain train in order to lift it over the Cascades and send it on to California. Our subject is the GME TPX-15. A Canadian Pacific train received at Eastport, Idaho and bound for Pixley, California. First, let's watch as it continues to struggle to climb up Dexter Hill to Minnow on a 0.8% grade. .8% might not sound like much to most folks, but in railroad terms this is steep. But this is nothing compared to the 1.8% grade over Pinger Pass coming up. As a result of the grade, trains going up this hill are lucky to even do half of the track speed, which is 50 miles per hour. This southbound train is 99 loads, 14,144 tons, and 6,610 feet long. This train arrived at Eastport from the Canadian Pacific at 01:23 3 days ago and has since crew changed in Spokane, Hinkle, Albina, and Eugene. Future crews will receive the train in Klamath Falls, Dunsmuir, Roseville, and Fresno. Aside from the cut-in helpers required on the aptly named Cascade subdivision, this train has 4 Canadian Pacific locomotives, 2 on the head end and 2 in distributed power service on the rear. These red engines are enjoying a trip to sunny California from the far north thanks to a power run-through agreement with Union Pacific. We're in between the grain train and the helpers now, looking at signals for Lookout siding a few miles outside of Oak Ridge. Lookout has been used as the location to cut in helpers because of the easy river grade here, requiring less handbrakes. In the meantime, the train crews have some calculations to complete to figure out where to put the cut-ins in. Union Pacific outlines the helper placement guidelines in the system special instructions under Item 5C. For the crew to comply with these instructions, they must know several things beforehand. First of all, they need to know whether their territory is categorized as L or H territory. This designation is found within the paperwork of the train and designates whether a district is categorized as low or high grade intensity. Because H territory is more restrictive, the limitations on powered axles and placement of light or long short cars is different than L territories, which have less restrictions on how a train is built. In Oregon, we have plenty of examples of both. Then the crews must understand what kind of train they have. The maximum allowable powered axles placed on or within a train differentiates between intermodal, manifest trains, loaded bulk commodity unit trains, or empty bulk commodity unit trains. The maximum allowable powered axles and dynamic brake axles also varies between head-end, cut-in, and rear helper consists, so exceeding these limits increases your chances of breaking your train due to overstressed knuckles or stringlining over a sharp curve. finally, we need to know our territory's requirements for tonnage per powered axles, or TPA. The pass over the Cascades decides this for our route, and the TPA limit not to be exceeded is 156. That's 156 tons of freight for every powered axle on our train. All right, first, here on the Cascade sub, we're categorized as H territory. Second, today we have a loaded bulk commodity unit train, which is great because that allows for the highest number of in-train powered axles, 60, which if our helpers are rated at 12.1 powered axles each, we could use 5 in-train helper engines. But today we only have 4. There are 2 sets of helpers stationed at Oak Ridge at the base of the grade, and for these heavy unit trains, they are put together for cut-in operations. So let's calculate our TPA. We have 2 engines up front, 2 on the rear, and 4 in-trained. To simplify, we'll rate each locomotive at 12.1 powered axles. So to get our EPA, equivalent powered axles, we multiply 12.1 times 8, which comes out to 96.8. Now we take our tonnage and we divide it by the EPA. 14,144 tons divided by 96.8 gives us a grand total of 146.1, which we round up to 147. Any remainder, no matter how small, gets rounded up. Our route limitation on TPA is 156, so we're good. But we're not out of the woods yet, or over the hill. We still have to calculate where to put the helpers in. Okay, our formula is 1/2 the EPA of the cut-in helper plus the rear EPA multiplied by the TPA equals the tonnage to be placed behind the cut-in helpers. I'll leave the answer as a challenge to any ambitious mathematicians out there. Tell me in the comments if you think you have it. In the meantime, I've put myself at a crossing in the middle of quiet lookout. The helpers reach out to the grain train via radio, and the crews coordinate with each other, always in a highly professional manner.
We're coming, James. Hurry up, over! Killing my quid, over! Said we're killing your quilt? You're quilling my quilt, over! Hey, Joel. What? I'm wearing a kilt, over. Oh, we're gonna want to see that, if that's the case.
The term quit is railroad jargon for a short work day, or at least one under 8 hours.
Helpers, diverging approach, BP 585, out.
Here at North Lookout, the helper conductor already made a cut on the train and had it pull forward to clear the switch. He then received permission from the dispatcher to take the switch into hand throw. In CTC, a dispatcher can line the switch so long as it's in motor, but a trainman, when authorized, can move a lever from motor to hand control operation. This can be preferential at times when making several quick switching moves. While in hand operation, the signals will display a red aspect. The dispatcher will authorize the train past the red with what's called flagging by. When done, the conductor must restore the handle to motor and report to the dispatcher. Joel, the helper engineer, is a fireman in training today, so they're moving cautiously. But he's in good hands because Joel's the best engineer in the state. Soon enough, the train is recoupled, and after running a few tests on the air brakes and DPU link, this train is ready to tackle the mountain. It will be more than 2.5 hours before this train reaches the top of the grade, and that's if they don't stop. And the helpers will then cut out of the train at the south end of Cascade Summit. The sound of raindrops fills the void as the thundering locomotives vanish in the mist. We'll catch you on the next train. This is Pacific Rail Productions, signing off.